Ronnie James Dio wasn't just a rock legend, he was a force of nature, a voice so powerful it needed no tricks, a leader who inspired greatness, a man whose stories live on through those who knew him best. In this video, we'll explore the incredible legacy of Ronnie James Dio through the voices of the people who worked and created alongside him.
At the end of the day, he was just a fabulous human being. Heart of gold.
His voice was pure power. I mean, he just sang like a bird.
I think I was there the first time he threw the devil horns. Actually.
Wow.
Ronnie loved making music and writing, and he loved his fans.
I'm Paul Stevenson, and this is VRP Rocks, and we're taking a special look at Ronnie James Dio, a career that spanned decades from Rainbow to Black Sabbath to his own legendary solo band, and that's not forgetting Elf as well. To understand the man behind the music, let's start with bassist Jeff Pilson, who worked closely with Ronnie, both as a bandmate and as a friend.
Ronnie was a really, really great friend. I mean, we were actually friends before we ever worked together, so... Okay. When we did work together, it was just fabulous. There was, he was a very respectful person. He knew what he wanted, but he loved to let everybody contribute towards that. And he really wanted to be in a great band. Even though he was the leader, he wanted it to feel like a band, and it really did. So working with him, writing with him, rehearsing with him, everything was just great because he was a man at the top of his game. Yeah. Who, he was very impressive. He knew everything. When you went on the road with him, he knew everything. He knew where the rigging points were. He knew what the lighting guy was doing at all times. He knew exactly what the sound guy, he was really in command of the tour. And that was a great thing to watch and learn from. It certainly served me in later years, as musical director for Foreigner and things like that. There's a lot of things I learned from that I've carried with me. But, at the end of the day, he was just a fabulous human being. Heart of gold, funny as hell. He'd give you the shirt off his back. He really would. I mean, he was that kind of guy. And what a musician, So great friend, great person, great musician. I don't even have to comment on his voice. We all know about that. But what an amazing human being.
And Ronnie wasn't just a leader. He was a perfectionist with an incredible attention to detail. But as guitarist Doug Aldrich recalls, his talent and energy in the studio were unmatched.
His powerful, his voice was pure power. I mean, he just sang like a bird. His pitch was always perfect. He would just, there was a transition where when you're singing on a piece of tape and tape machine, old school recording, you had to sing it, 3 or 4 times, and you had to sing it good so that they could build a composite vocal out of that. With Pro Tools, anybody could sing 2 or 3 times, and then they could take the best bits, and then they could auto tune it and stretch it and put it in time and do all this stuff. But Ronnie didn't have to do any of that stuff, man. He just sang. He would sing the song once, and then the engineer would say, like, okay, let's go grab, what do you think? Or he would ask Ronnie, what do you think? And Ronnie would go, let's grab this line. Let me redo that one. And he'd punch in and do it. It would be just like he was recording on tape, but, he didn't need all that technology. And then his energy in the studio was exciting, man.
And Doug also shared how Ronnie's generosity and warmth extended beyond music. From the moment he joined, Ronnie made sure he felt like part of the family.
Never forget, the first day I rolled up, I opened my truck and I was getting ready to pull out an amplifier, and this big road crew on Ronnie's road crew comes up and goes, hey, don't touch that amp. You're our guitar player. You can't be lifting anything like that anymore. That's my job, I'm like, okay. And immediately I felt like I was part of a family, and Ronnie was super excited to see what I would do with the songs. He would basically sit with his back to me, and he'd have these glasses on, and he'd be doing crossword puzzles all day long, just doing, and then I'd be playing, and I'd go, Ronnie, what do you think about that? And he'd be like, I love it, sounds great, mate, and whatever. And then he might have a suggestion, like, I think mostly with my rhythm guitar playing, he was pretty much, I don't even remember him making any comments other than that he was he liked it a lot.
And that sense of camaraderie extended into Dio's creative process, as drummer Vinny Appice recalls from the recording of Holy Diver.
It was more of a fun hangout. We weren't thinking of making a classic record. It was more of a hangout every night, 7 o'clock. And then this album came out and it went all the way up the charts. We started playing bigger places. And now 40 years later, the album still sells.
Yeah.
It's become a classic cornerstone piece of music for heavy metal and heavy rock.
Obviously, like you said, it's still revered to this day, 40 years on, and it's still held up as a classic of the genre and everything else like that. But from the sounds of it, you guys are just kind of having fun and just going along for the ride. And it was almost like you didn't feel that it was as special as it was going to go on to become.
Nah, we were just having fun. Matter of fact, one night we had some riffs. We jammed on the riff. And then I said, well, all right, we'll listen to it tomorrow when we come in. Next day we came in, we smoked a couple of joints, so we're all stoned. And we asked Angelo, who was our engineer, put that tape in, let's hear it. It was a cassette, but he put it in upside down, backwards. So it started playing backwards. And we're laughing, going, yeah, you're fucking stoned, blah, blah, blah. And then we listened to the riff, wait a minute, that sounds good. So we learned the riff backwards. That's how crazy and no rules applied. And that's the song called Invisible.
And experimentation was a hallmark of Ronnie's creativity. But as Vinny shares, his relentless drive and passion for music were what truly set him apart.
You know, that's why back in Live Evil, he didn't want to sit there and waste time. Well, let's do something. Yeah, so he's always driven, and he wanted to work every day, and always had ideas, you know. He stayed in the room with us. He'd write his lyrics, roll a joint, write lyrics, get up, sing a little bit, you know. And we were a great team. Ronnie loved making music and writing, and he loved his fans. And he was very happy to have such a great band. You know, finally, after Rainbow and Sabbath and him having to listen to other people, now he's in control.
Ronnie's control and vision helped shape his legacy, but it was his honesty and authenticity that left an impression on those closest to him. Tony Carey, who worked with Ronnie in Rainbow, remembers him as both a gentleman and an innovator.
I think I was there the first time he threw the devil horns. Actually.
Wow.
I will maintain to this day that I was on stage with the first time Ronnie threw the devil horns. He's a great guy. If you saw him in interviews, that's the way he was. I mean, straight ahead, you know, pretty much dead honest. He'd give you his opinion the way he called him like he saw him. Really a gentleman. I mean, he's an Italian fella. Italian, American, from upstate New York. They have this, they're very polite.
Yeah.
And even if he's about to stab you in the back, he's not swearing at you. They have this gentlemanly air about him. He was a real gentleman. And he was always lovely to me. And Wendy, his wife, she was with him from the early days. I don't think they were married at the time, but she was with us the whole time in the studio, on the road in the studio, on the Rising tour, and then in the Long Live Rock and Roll sessions, and in the Rising sessions. But Wendy was always there. She was great too. They were just great people.
Ronnie James Dio's legacy isn't just in the music he created, it's in the lives that he touched and the inspiration that he continues to provide. A legend in every sense of the word, Ronnie's impact on rock and metal will echo for generations to come. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to VRP Rocks for more incredible stories from the legends of rock and roll.